Hello, we're back at it again. I'm Mia Gradney with KHOU 11 News, your education station, catching up with area superintendents ahead of students returning to campus. School starts August 17th for Aldine ISD students. And with 1 week to go, Superintendent Dr. LaTonya Goffney and Aldine ISD Police Chief Paul Cordova join us both to answer your most pressing questions. Good evening to you both. Nice to have you with us.
We're so excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
You are so welcome. Thank you. Our questions tonight come from parents who took part in the KHOU 11 Back to School survey. Thanks so much for participating if you did, but it is not too late to submit your questions. You can text them to 713-526-1111. Let's get started now. We begin with the biggest area of concern for Aldine ISD parents, security and safety. Chief Cordova, Vicki asked, what are the plans in the event of an active shooter? Walk us through the safety measures and procedures in place in the event of the unthinkable.
Okay, well, I'd like to first speak to the preparation that we've made. We train annually for active shooter and also emergency medical care. Our officers are trained in both annually. And also we train also with joint training with other police agencies. We recently did a training with over 100 officers at one of our campuses just to simulate what it would really be like. We also are forming, in the process of forming, an emergency response team that be specially trained and equipped to react quickly to an active shooter. And we do have the shields and body armor and rifles and so forth that we need to equip ourselves for such an event. So if there was an active shooter, we would respond immediately. Who's ever on campus would respond immediately. The patrol officers and even officers from other campuses have patrol vehicles that they could respond as well. So, our protocol is that we will not hesitate to go directly to where the danger is and eliminate the threat.
You talked a lot about officer training. As for officers on campus, Brunetta Moore asked, will there be at least one police officer present on elementary campuses daily? She says, I have noticed that my high school child has more police presence than my elementary child's school. Can you explain?
Yes, ma'am. So the model that we have is that we have officers on every secondary campus, which is high schools and middle schools, minimum of one. And then we have what we call elementary patrol. We patrol all the elementaries, early childhood and pre-K schools on a roving basis. They will do walkthroughs. They will check in the parking lot and then move on to the next one. So that is in place. We do not have an officer at every single elementary, but we are present, and then we can do a fast response if we need to, because our schools are clustered in such a way that officers can leave their secondary schools and be on a campus, an elementary school campus, rather quickly.
So they're in relatively close proximity, those secondary schools with your primary schools?
Yes.
And how many armed officers do you have in the district, and do you have enough?
So we have 66, including myself, and we have 62,000 students at the moment. So we are actually right at right-sized where we need to be, but we do evaluate that every year to see, if the population has changed or any special needs have changed. Then we will, of course, go to the superintendent and express those needs. But right now we feel comfortable with our numbers, and I think we're in a good place. All of our officers have vehicles and are able to respond quickly should they need to.
Mm-hmm. They have vehicles. I know you talked about having what you need. What about things like shields, weapons to protect a school in the event of an attack or a mass shooting?
So the ballistic shields, which is different than, say, a riot shield, where every officer would have a shield for a riot. But when it comes to a gunfight, every officer does not have a shield typically. you really don't need every officer to be holding. It actually would inhibit the correct rapid response. So we do have enough shields in the field where we can move them around and get them where they need to be. I feel pretty comfortable with that.
Yes, sir. Another question from a parent, Jessica, asked, what are teachers being taught to protect students while police are en route in the event of an active shooter?
Okay, so we use the state standard of avoid, deny, defend. And our version of avoid is to get out of the hallways behind a secure door and just, hunker down and wait for the police. Like I said, a lot of our campuses already have an officer on campus. Our response time could be as little as 1 minute. And so any other campus, we expect to be there within 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes max. So it's just basically protecting themselves behind a locked door and barricading as needed, and then we will come take care of the problem.
That is the plan there in Aldine ISD. With teachers, we've talked about officers being ready as well for an event, an emergency there on any one of the campuses. Right now, if you're joining us, we are visiting with Aldine ISD, their leadership, their superintendent, Dr. Goffney, and their police chief for the school district, Chief Paul Cordova. If you have questions, please feel free to text them to us at the number there on your screen, 713-526-1111, and we'll get to just as many as we can. We have about 30 minutes to do so. I want to move on to another subject, but please feel free to text more questions about security if you have them. I want to talk now about the nationwide teacher shortage. Another parent is asking us, do we have enough teachers for the school year? How many teacher vacancies do you have, Superintendent Goffney?
Yes, and before we go on, let me just give one more important factor in school security.
Please do.
One of the things I think that we have done extremely well as a superintendent, I say all the time that leadership matters. And what I can tell you is one of the best hires I have done since I've been superintendent is hiring Chief Cordova as our chief of police. Because pre any conversation at the national level, we were having conversations here in Aldine about how we could get better faster as a police department and how we could be responsive to not only the needs of our school, but also of our community. And so I'm just really proud of the work that Chief Cordova has done, and I'm proud of the proactive nature that he and his team have put in place. And so I want to assure our parents that we have a chief who is intentional and definitely making sure that we have everything in place to keep our students safe, and that makes me, allows me to sleep at night. And so going to your next question, though, about the teacher vacancies. And honestly, that's a conversation in our district that we've been having all year. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget, we were at TASA, which is the Texas Association of School Administrators, of which I'm the president-elect of, and we had our huge conference as a convening of all the suits from all over Texas. And the officers were doing a general session. And what was top of mind for me is the fact that we were going to have teacher vacancies, and what were we going to do in response to that. And so we've been having those conversations, and we've been getting prepared. And what I can tell you about the exact number today, we're in a much better position than we were, of course, months ago in January when it was top of mind, and a couple of weeks ago, and of course, even a week ago, and a day even makes a difference. So today we're at 270 vacancies. And so when you consider that we have we have 84 campuses, you have to put those kinds of things in perspective. And so we are really excited and really pleased at the progress that our HR department is making, as well as our campus leadership, how they've been intentional about thinking differently about attracting teachers. But then I must give kudos to our school board, who also were concerned as we were moving forward with this year and expressed the need to retain our employees. And so we're really excited that we were, again, one of the first districts that put out and increased our first year teacher pay to $61,000. In addition, a bold plan to retain our employees who've been here for many years. We have a retention bonus for employees who've been here for over 10 years of $5,000. You've been here for over 5 years, it's $3,000. And of course, 1 to 4 years, a retention bonus of $1,500. And while we recognize that money matters, what matters even more is making sure that we're meeting the needs of our teachers, and we are being intentional in making sure that we have the very best person in front of our students. And so pre this year, because again, while it seems like it's a new topic, it's been a growing concern for those of us who've been in this business. And so in recognizing that teachers have choices. And so when they have choices, then we've got to be even more intentional, those of us who are in the what I call the schools that are in the city. And I think our rural colleagues also have some challenges, but because you have fewer people entering into the profession, and you have fewer people who are feeling appreciated,
Is that why, I have to ask you, because a parent asked this as a follow-up, is that why Aldine is losing so many good teachers and principals, a parent asked?
Well, what I can tell you is, as far as principals, each year we have principals who can retire or who can go on to another district or make other choices. And what we've seen is many of them have done that. However, as we think about the ones who have gone on, we have to consider many things, many factors. Number one, we have to consider the fact that during a crisis, whether it's COVID and any other situation, our teachers are the first to respond. And during that period of time, we call them heroes. But the minute that season is over, we're also quick to blame our teachers for issues that many of them, most of them, all of them have no control over. And so what we want to do here in Aldine, and what we want to make sure that the teachers who choose to live here, to work here, to make a difference here, we want to make sure that not only are they compensated, but also the fact that we want to make sure that they're appreciated. We want to connect and ensure that we have a caring teacher in every class. And so we're doing we have different partnerships. We have a University of Houston downtown. We have a Grow Your Own for our bilingual teachers. We have a partnership with Prairie View A&M. We're working with U of H to recruit males of color. Really excited and really pleased. We have foreign exchange students who were hired on a J-1 visa, and many of them are coming internationally from Colombia and Honduras. And so we're pulling out all the stops to get teachers in our district, and not just teachers, effective teachers.
I see. In the meantime, how will you fill the gap? Because you still have those vacancies, and with a week to go, while I'm sure you will fill some more, how will you fill the gap for those vacancies that will still remain come next week?
And so what I can tell you is the majority, if not perhaps a high percentage, most of our campuses are fully staffed. And so the few campuses where we have a hard time maybe finding English teachers has been one for us. And so when you look at our primary level, you look at our elementary level, perhaps they're almost fully staffed. And so really excited about that. At our middle and high school levels, where we're having a harder time maybe attracting those teachers who teach, like I said, English and others, we're being intentional about our recruitment efforts, including hiring not only retirees in our hard to fill positions. We just sent out 500 cards to recently retired teachers from our district, the ones who retired in the last 3 years. And so we're getting a really positive response from that. And so many times on the dashboard, you will see 270 vacancies. But meanwhile, our principals already have a plan to make sure that we have a caring teacher in every single classroom. And what I can tell you is 4 of our campuses started a couple of weeks ago. And our teachers were at the door smiling. Our parents were excited to drop them off. And our principals were welcoming them in. And just like always across education, educators always meet the needs of our students in our community. So I have no doubt that we'll have a caring adult in every classroom to welcome all of our students back on August 17th.
Superintendent Goffney, a parent asked, will we be notified if our child's teacher is not certified? Because we do understand there's some alternative teacher certification that's in the works, not just in your school district, but others are approving as well.
Right, and we do provide that notification for sure, yes.
Okay. I want to get back to another security question that just came in for Chief Cordova. The parent asked, what about those schools that are open concepts? How will you keep them safe those classrooms have a lot of windows, no places to hide. Give us an idea on infrastructure and protecting children in different settings, perhaps.
Thank you. So we have an emergency operations plan for the whole district, but each campus has its own emergency operations plan. And the principal and those underneath the principal that are charged with developing that plan will have a route that they should take to get to a safe room if there's just no way to secure that room due to the large amount of glass. If we have a room that fits in that category, we will evacuate them to a safe place.
I want to talk about now going back to Superintendent Goffney, talking about COVID, right? Before we get to the health concerns, we want to get to the learning loss that we know took place, once again, not just statewide, but nationwide as well. There's some deficits there for children who were doing some virtual learning, and there's already always so much work to be done in the classroom. How are teachers, principals, leadership going about trying to fill those areas of loss for kids?
Let me just say, 2019, I was named superintendent in 2018. We launched a bold strategic plan in 2019, and then of course COVID hit. And prior to COVID, we were outpacing the state as far as progress. And what we recognize is that we're responsible for our students' learning. We want them to graduate with choices and opportunities. And so during COVID, what I'm proud of is our teachers, we were still intentional about the priorities that we had set. And so as we think about the learning loss, it was real because the experience of COVID in our district was real. But what I'm most proud of is that our district didn't allow COVID to become the new excuse for low expectations for our students. And so we still worked fervently in making sure our students were learning. And so we focus on the 4 T's. I've said it a lot, and so it seems redundant, but there are only 4 things that we can control. Time. And so we have additional time. I alluded to earlier, our ADSY campuses, which are our additional day school year campuses, they began a couple of weeks ago. So that's more time. In addition, more time for in the evenings, as well as on the weekends. And each of our campuses have a menu of options on providing more time for our students. We focus on talent. We've got to make sure while we are focused on making sure that we have a caring adult in every class, we still have a standard. We could easily have 0 vacancies if we would lower our standard a little bit more, but we have held the bar to adults who want to be teachers. And even during some tough times, we're keeping that bar pretty high. And so we're really excited about the talent that has joined us. We just recently celebrated all the new staff to our district, and I'm telling you, they're fired up and they're ready to go. In addition, Tier 1 instruction. We have high quality instructional materials in all of our classes, and we launched that approach. We were the first district in Texas, and many have joined, and we did that while taking care of COVID. In addition, though, with the learning loss, we've been targeted in our supports, and we feel confident we have a solid foundation moving forward. And so what I can tell you is last year it was pretty dire. We were really excited that we've gotten our STAR assessments, which we know one test doesn't necessarily tell you about all the hard work that our teachers do. But our teachers did a yeoman's job because we're so thankful for the double-digit gains in all areas, and we're really excited about the progress that we were able to make during some tough times. But it doesn't mean that it's over. We recognize and we appreciate, and we don't apologize for the students that we serve. This is the work that most people who enter education and work in Aldine, they want to do it. They see something in the kids that we serve. They see something in the community that we serve, and they recognize that what we do matters, that, our students come because they need education to change the trajectory of some of their lives. And so we're really excited about what we've been able to do, excited about the progress, and we're even more focused as hopefully, I hate to even say it because the minute I say it, something may or may not happen, but the only normal I want to return to is a normal focus on addressing the needs of our students. So I feel very confident and very excited about the progress that we've been able to make even during some tough times.
Yeah, we talked about COVID and the learning loss there. We're going to talk about COVID protocol for health purposes in just a moment, but want to bring back in Chief Cordova and ask another question. We have a parent who's asking, what are the plans to secure high school students who have to go from building to take classes in order to keep them safe? Talking about them transitioning from one building and walking out to another.
So let me bring in drilling. So when we do our drills, they are to quickly get back to a secure classroom where they can lock themselves behind a secure door. And, we can do that in a matter of seconds. So, and it doesn't have to be the classroom that they came from. It could be another classroom. So, and we'll account for everybody after the dust settles. But the priority number one is to get them in a safe place and behind a locked door.
And another parent asked, will teachers and staff be trained if a shooting was to happen? I know you addressed some of this earlier, but this parent perhaps just joining us, if you could review that for us once again. Sure. Teachers and staff on training for a shooting if it were to occur on campus.
So we offer CRACE training, which is citizen response to active shooter events. And we've had a number of our staff and faculty go through that already. And we're training that on an ongoing basis. We'll continue to do that until we feel that we have sufficient people that go through that. And also at the administrator level, we have done tabletop exercises in the past, and we will continue to do that to go over the dangers and the pitfalls of responding and trying to do a great job for our kids as far as responding quickly and securing the campus quickly.
Another answer to another one of your security questions tonight as we visit with Aldine ISD. I promised we would talk COVID protocol, and here we are. Superintendent Goffney, what is the protocol for this school year, mask or no mask?
Well, what I can tell you is I was hoping not to have to talk about COVID this year. I told my communications person that, and she laughed. But our expectation is we'll be definitely following all of the state guidelines, and we've gotten some information from TEA and others, and so we're going to be moving forward. Currently, we want to strongly encourage, as we always done, the 3 W's. We want you to wash your hands, and we want you to watch your distance. And perhaps the third one is at your own pleasure, is to wear a mask. So while masks aren't required, everyone is free to make their own personal decision and wear a mask. And so we'll continue to move forward in that manner.
Just as concerning to parents as COVID is monkeypox. Jovelyn Cruz asked, what about monkeypox? Can my kids catch it once school starts? What's the district's plan to handle monkeypox and a possible outbreak with it?
Well, what I can tell you is the one thing that we got out of COVID is we learned how to address, high population areas, whether it was cleaning, and we also recognized too that the 3 W's work. And so washing your hands and watching your distance, and if you so choose to wear a mask, it helps. And so I think those are the same types of expectations that we're going to have to decrease the likelihood of monkeypox. I think they're saying frequent hand washing and frequent disinfecting, and we'll still continue to do that. Again, some other unsung heroes are our auxiliary, our custodial staff. They did an amazing job during COVID, and pre-COVID, they were doing an amazing job keeping our buildings inviting. And so I'm sure I know they're going to continue to provide clean areas for our students to learn.
Time just flies. We've covered so much, but let's get back to basics as we come to a close. How can parents best support their students and set them up for success this school year?
Well, I'm excited about, welcoming all of our students back. I'm excited about the progress we were able to make during some difficult times. I welcome our parents to continue to be the great partners that they are and to advocate for what's best for their children and not accept anything less. I'm excited about the choice, and so I invite our parents to get to to learn about all the different choice programs. We say in our district that we want our students to graduate with choices and opportunities, but we are super excited about all the choice programs that we provide now, from our P-Tech school, our early college high school. In addition, we opened Young Women's Leadership Academy last year. We're opening Impact Academy this year for our young men, and we are really excited about La Promesa, which was one of our newcomer schools, and we have some high quality options, including our neighborhood schools. And so just getting to know about all the different programs that we offer, all the different supports that we have, and then working with us to make sure that our students get the education they deserve.
And Chief Cordova, in closing, what do you want parents to know about their children's safety as well as their teachers and staff members' safety this school year too?
Thank you. I would ask parents to sit their child down and have a serious talk with them about not making jokes on social media about bringing a gun to school or shooting up to school or blowing up to school. And what we find is 9 times out of 10 or higher, it was just a joke or a prank, but they don't realize the seriousness of it. And it's just as if you were to call 911 and say, we have a fire at your house. Surely you would expect there to be consequences. So it's the same thing. You're frightening people when you do that, and please just don't do it. So if the parents could talk to their children, that would be great.
And what about those parents who may be dealing with an anxious student, concerned about their own safety when they go back to campus? What should they tell them?
Just let them know that we're going to be there for them. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you got it. That's exactly what I was going to say. So keep going.
Okay. Just let them know we'll be there. We'll be there for them, greeting them at the door or in the parking lot and giving them high fives and so forth, letting them know that we're there to take care of them and to mentor them and to look after their best interest.
Chief Cordova, Superintendent Goffney with Aldine ISD, thank you so much for your time. This has been highly informative. KHOU 11 is proud to provide this platform as Houston's education station. Thank you, and all our best on a safe and productive school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and be sure to follow KHOU 11 News on Facebook and Twitter for our next back to school Q&A, and text the word school to 713-526-1111 to take the KHOU 11 back to school survey. We'll see you a little bit later tonight, coming up at 10.